My name is Anthony Trotter. My age is 54. Drug of choice, heroin and crack cocaine.
My name's Ben. I'm a recovering addict. I'm 21 years old, and I've been on and off drugs for the last 4 years.
Okay, my name's Robert. I'm 48 years old. My drug of choice is heroin. Well, I always thought that I wanted to stop, and I always knew that maybe I should stop, but, you know, it's like, I look at addiction like, I came up with this own scenario myself. Addiction to me is like being with a mistress, and you're married, you know, and you have a mistress, but she don't do what your wife does. You know, she hangs from the chandelier, she does stuff that your wife would never do. You know, so she calls you, and she's like, "What's up, baby?" And you're like, "I'm with my wife," you know what I mean? And that's how my addiction is. I'm trying to do the right thing, but she's calling me, "What's up? You know you want this. Your wife don't be doing what I do," you know, and so that's, I don't know if maybe you guys can understand that, but that's the only way I can explain it, you know, and I try to leave her alone. I done deleted her number, moved away, but she finds me, and she calls me. She's like, "I'm waiting on you, baby," you know, and shit's devastating.
My addiction, I stabbed a man and cut a man up down the street. Went to prison, St. Quentin, for assault with a deadly weapon aiming to do bodily harm. So I did like 5 years on that, but altogether, off and on, back in institutions, jails, like 20 years. Got me into recovery. The thing that got me into recovery is just the everyday streets. I just got tired out there, and you know, the danger and the hassle every day trying to get drugs and just use it. I just got tired of that.
Well, I look at it like this. I don't know about everybody else, but I know for me, you know, just being a human being, you know, you hang around what you're into. If you're into drugs, you hang around people that are into drugs. Most people that are into drugs commit crime, do robberies, and are violent.
Yes, my name is James Foster, and I'm a recovering addict. Currently a house manager in a drug treatment program called Northgate. I'm also a full-time student pursuing my certification in substance abuse specialist. For me, I found the SLE housing situation to be a place where addicts, people who are actively involved in their addiction, where they can receive treatment and they can begin a new way of living. The clean and sober living is a place that removes the addict from an environment that constantly feeds the addiction and it keeps them active in their suffering. So by them coming to the clean and sober living, they're able to be in a safe and clean environment in which they can begin to get treatment, they begin to look at some information and consider the problem that they have. For people who come into treatment or recovery and who do not have a relationship with a higher power, and that's the case with many people who are atheists or who are Gnostic, we invite all people into the treatment, into recovery, and we just ask them to just be open-minded to the information, and just allow their spirit, just allow who they are to develop and to to hopefully guide them into some type of relationship with the higher power. A lot of people say that your higher power, it can be a relationship that you have with nature. Your higher power can be a relationship that you have with certain principles of right, certain principles of honesty, certain principles of decency. All of these are attributes that we know are directly connected to a higher power. So if you can find a relationship with that, a connection with that, that is sufficient for you. That is sufficient for the individual to have that relationship with the higher power or not. All we ask is that you remain open-minded to the information.
My friend, we used to get high a long time ago, and he's the pastor here. So his life, you know, he changed his life. Well, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here, period.
About 2 years ago, I lost one of my best friends to addiction. His name was Noah Rosenthal. He was better known as Fighter, which was his graffiti name. Over time, we became friends, and I didn't really know how into drugs he was at the time, and I was kind of like starting to use drugs myself, you know, mainly, you know, drinking and doing cocaine on the weekends. And then I hurt my back skateboarding and started taking painkillers such as Vicodin and morphine and Percocet. And he was into the same kind of drugs, mainly Oxycontin, which we both ended up using a lot together. Because a few months after he died, I ended up relapsing myself and started using heroin again.
Have I had any relapses? No. Oh, in the past, yes. I mean, man, 20 years worth of relapse, you know. But I look at it now to where is I was all the times that I had tried recovery, I thought I was ready, but you know, it's different this time. It's a different feeling, you know. And I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to, for as taking suggestions, reading the literature, and just everyday life. Getting to sit with myself, to know myself, you know, trying to sit still and stuff like that.
Well, this isn't like my first time around in recovery. I've been doing this for a lot of years because, you know, alcohol and drugs is devastating. You know, a lot of people stop, but staying stopped is the main thing. You know, I've stopped many a times.
The biopsychosocial aspect of the disease is a condition that clinically our disease has been described as affecting us in those three ways. The bio being physically, but physically we start using, and when we start using, our bodies have a certain reaction to the drug or the alcohol, where we can't stop. It's a compulsion where we cannot stop. Once we start using, we continue to use, and we don't realize that the chemicals in our bodies known as the neurotransmitters are affected by the substances, and those substances constantly continue to ask us to feed it physically. The cycle is mentally. Mentally, all we do is think about the use of drugs or the drinking of alcohol on a constant basis. So even when we're not currently using the drug or currently drinking, in our obsessive thinking, our mind, our thoughts are constantly on how to get the next hit, how to get the next drink, and so forth. And then socially, what ends up happening is we become a part of a community or a culture of people, to where we isolate from the normal people in society, and we start just hanging out. We just start kicking it with those groups that are involved in the drug transaction, those groups that are involved in the using, you know, the alcoholics. You know, we just want to hang around at bars.
You know, and I'm not just talking about heroin abuse. You know, alcoholism's a very big problem in this country because it's so readily available everywhere you go. And you know, if you have a problem with anything, I've met people that go to NA because they smoke a ton of weed and they don't want to smoke weed anymore, and I respect that, even though weed's not as hardcore as, say, meth or crack or heroin. It's, you know, it's still a problem for some people.
And I consider like alcohol and drug use, you know, when you're like in a gang or like you got partners, like, I mean, we're in the streets of Oakland right now, you know, people die, you know, that's what they do. You know, you're in that game, you're in that environment, it's part of the game. People die, you know, people OD, people get shot, people, you know, get caught stealing. I mean, just all kinds of stuff happens. That's just the nature of the beast.
Two.